When an overbearing HOA president tries to abuse emergency services to force you out of your own backyard, they usually expect a humble apology and a heavy fine. But when she lied to 911 about a full-scale forest fire just to extinguish my small, legally permitted evening campfire, she had no idea that the incoming fire chief wasn't just on my side. He was about to turn her entire neighborhood rulebook against her. Hit that subscribe button right now, because watching an entitled suburban bully get handed a massive bill for emergency service abuse, while the local fire department comes over to roast marshmallows, is the sweetest payback you'll see all week. My name is Marcus, and I bought a 5-acre lot right on the outer boundary of Oakridge Estates. I specifically built my stone fire pit outside their official jurisdiction, right on my own unencumbered parcel. Enter legal nightmare Karen, also known as Evelyn, the HOA president, who believes her power extends to every square inch of the horizon. Evelyn hated that she couldn't find me for my grass height, so she looked for any excuse to target me. On a crisp autumn Saturday, I lit a small, controlled campfire in my custom-built, fully code-compliant brick pit. 10 minutes later, I heard screaming through the tree line, followed by the deafening wail of multiple sirens tearing up our rural road. Evelyn hadn't just called the non-emergency line. She had dialed 911, screaming about an out-of-control wildfire threatening suburban homes. 3 massive red engine trucks and a chief's command vehicle came hurtling down the narrow country road, their red and blue lights painting the trees in dramatic flashes. Evelyn stood behind her pristine white vinyl fence, holding a glass of wine, wearing a look of absolute villainous triumph. She genuinely believed this was the night she would finally force me off my land. Hit that subscribe button, because seeing a power-hungry HOA president realize she just summoned 3 full fire crews for a 6-inch fire pit is pure satisfaction. The air was thick with tension, as Chief Miller, a broad-shouldered, veteran firefighter with 30 years on the job, stepped out of his truck and scanned the area. Evelyn immediately sprinted across her lawn, pointing her finger wildly at my yard. "Chief, thank goodness you're here. He's setting reckless blazes right next to our homes. Embers are flying everywhere. Put it out and arrest him." Chief Miller didn't move an inch. He slowly looked at my small, fully contained fire pit, built with professional fire bricks, 3 feet deep, surrounded by 10 feet of clear gravel, and equipped with a heavy spark arrestor screen. Then, he looked down at his digital dispatch log. "Ma'am," Chief Miller said, his voice deep and completely unimpressed. The 911 dispatch caller reported an active structure threat with flames exceeding 20 feet. "Is this what you called emergency services for?" Evelyn puffed out her chest, completely unbothered. "It's an illegal fire, Chief, and I want it extinguished right now under HOA code." Chief Miller slowly pulled out his official handheld inspector tablet, tapped the screen, and looked back at Evelyn with an expression of pure, cold authority. "First of all, ma'am," Chief Miller said, his voice echoing across the quiet road, "this property isn't even inside Oakridge Estates. It's unincorporated county land. And second, calling 911 and lying about a massive structure fire just to shut down a neighbor's campfire is a crime." Hit that subscribe button, because watching a power-crazed HOA president get cited on the spot for abusing emergency services is the ultimate suburban karma. Evelyn's face turned bright red, her posture stiffening. "I am a high-value taxpayer. I demand you put out this hazardous nuisance immediately." Chief Miller ignored her completely. He walked over to my pit, inspecting the 10-foot gravel perimeter, the nearby garden hose hooked up to a high-pressure valve, and the steel spark arrestor resting beside the flames. "Son," Chief Miller turned to me with a nod, "this setup doesn't just meet county fire safety codes, it exceeds them. It's safer than the pit behind my own firehouse." He turned back toward Evelyn, pulling a heavy, official county citation book from his jacket pocket. Evelyn stepped back, her jaw dropping in utter disbelief. "What are you doing? You can't write me a ticket. I'm the victim here. You pulled 3 engine companies and 12 firefighters away from real emergencies," Chief Miller snapped, pressing his pen to the carbon paper. "That's a misdemeanor fine, plus full operational costs for deploying 3 fire trucks. As Evelyn gasped in horror, Chief Miller turned back to me with a smile. "Marcus, mind if the crew and I stick around for a bit?" I couldn't help but laugh as Chief Miller signaled to his crew to shut down the sirens and park the engines safely along the gravel shoulder. "We've got an hour left on our shift," Chief Miller said with a broad grin. "And that fire looks mighty cozy. Hit that subscribe button, because watching an entire crew of firefighters pull up lawn chairs to roast s'mores while a furious HOA Karen fumes in her front yard is absolute perfection." Within minutes, my quiet evening turned into the ultimate neighborhood gathering. 3 full crews of firefighters were lounging around my custom fire pit, swapping wild calls from the past, laughing and enjoying the crisp autumn air. Across the property line, Evelyn was practically vibrating with rage. She paced back and forth along her pristine vinyl fence, screaming frantically into her phone as she watched the very emergency crew she summoned, enjoying my hospitality instead. "This is a conspiracy," she shrieked, her voice echoing down the entire street. "I am reporting all of you to the county board. You are fraternizing with a criminal on a hazardous property." Chief Miller just casually took a sip of water, completely unbothered. But Evelyn wasn't done. Desperate to regain control, she dialed the county sheriff's department, demanding an immediate armed response for criminal trespassing and official misconduct. 10 minutes later, a heavy county sheriff SUV pulled up behind the fire trucks. A tall deputy stepped out, adjusted his utility belt, and walked straight toward our glowing fire. Deputy Harris walked up, glanced at the peaceful gathering around the glowing fire pit, and then looked at Chief Miller with a raised eyebrow. "Chief, got a call about an illegal assembly and an uncontained blaze?" Hit that subscribe button right now, because seeing a local deputy shut down an arrogant HOA president once and for all is the ultimate storybook ending. Chief Miller just chuckled and handed Deputy Harris the carbon copy of the emergency service citation he had just issued to Evelyn. "Deputy, Mrs. Vance here called 911 again to report a criminal trespass on a county-inspected property where we are currently stationed." Deputy Harris read the citation, sighed, and walked over to Evelyn at the fence line. "Mrs. Vance, false reporting of a crime is a Class B misdemeanor. You've dispatched 3 fire engines and now a sheriff's unit on false pretenses. I'm issuing you a formal court summons right now." Evelyn's jaw dropped so fast her glass of wine nearly slipped from her hand. Pale, humiliated, and facing thousands of dollars in emergency response fees and criminal charges, she retreated into her house, slamming the door shut. With the neighborhood bully officially neutralized, Chief Miller turned to me with a wide grin. "Marcus, your fire pit setup is so good, we want you to host the annual Fire Department Charity Cookout right here on your land next month." My quiet bonfire turned into a community victory, and Evelyn never dared question my property lines ever again.